All right, guys, we're back for another episode today of What in the World. Reached out to a former guest that I had on a previous project, World of Wally. Her name's Stacey Toy. Um, People that don't know who she is, you're in for quite a treat. She is a strong, independent young lady that was dealt a pretty big blow pretty early in her married life. She lost her husband. She ended up raising a house full of boys, strong, independent young men that have gone on to live their own lives at this point. So Stacey kind of kicked her career into overdrive during this process. We were just chatting before we got started. It's been almost 3 years ago when I first met Stacey, and we talked about young Stacey Toy and the dreams and aspirations she had in her education, where she had opportunities to go overseas for education purposes. She's grew up in the upper northeast area part of the country, and she's just she claims she's still a normal person, but when you become uber famous, it's hard to stay focused on normality. And we'll talk a little bit about that today also. Before we bring her on, though, I do want to give a quick shout out to a show partner of ours, the Deck Restaurant, local eating establishment here in the area where I'm based out of, Columbia, Mississippi. Good food fast and fast food good. Their food is absolutely ridiculous. They're at 1111 Highway 13 North. Check them out any day of the week except Sunday. They decided to give the Lord's Day, and we appreciate that. So, all right, guys, let's get into it today with my guest, Miss Stacey Toy.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Stacey. Look, I built you up as a normal person, so don't get weird on us, okay?
Oh, I promise I won't. My shit still stinks like everybody else's, I promise.
Well, I was just telling them that, before you rocketed into stardom, you were just kind of making it, and then all of a sudden your shirt took off. Supernova, I believe, was the term I used before we got started.
You did. Right. I love science, but I don't know.
Listen, for just a couple of minutes, for those that actually they might not have ever heard of you. I don't know how, because if you're on social media for about 5 minutes, her name comes up associated with some kind of project. First of all, let's early life. We're going 2 minutes. We're going to just blast through little Stacey Toy all the way up to about where we left off our original conversation. So you knew from early in life that you wanted to do what you're doing right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, journalism was always like, even my parents, they would say, because at dinner time, I mean, we grew up in the country. We didn't watch TV. It was go outside, do stuff. But when it was dinner time, the news was on. And I wanted to be a newscaster like you had no idea. So I knew from a young age, like news, and because I wanted to be famous. And then I wanted to have credibility, unlike Britney Spears or, so I'm like, oh, go into news, you'll have the credibility. Like,
right.
I mean, it was a great time. It was wonderful. I love that I still do a lot of stuff overseas for big companies like CNN and History Channel, BBC, things like that. But yeah, things have changed. So I'm glad to be back on, though.
A little bit. It's changed a little bit, about that much. That's what I was trying to tell the viewers that are tuning in today that didn't get a chance to hear our original conversation, which was our audio.
It was a 2-part series. I remember.
I'm telling you, folks, for listening. We recorded over 90 minutes. That's not counting all the. I mean, we literally went for almost 3 hours that day. So she started off from humble beginnings and built herself into the titan that she is today. You like that, huh?
I love it. I do. You're giving me more credit than I'm worth.
So after you got done with school, you got the opportunity to go overseas. Went to school over there. Decided to come back to America for some reason.
Because I was broke. I had to make the money.
Well, there you go. There you go. She was broke.
I got scholarships. That's how you go overseas in the beginning when you're broke, is you get scholarships. And that's your only way of getting there because daddy's not paying the bill. And my daddy couldn't hardly pay the bill for the house. And I was helping, and that's okay. That's okay. But my parents instilled in me, like, if you want to do something, you got to figure out another way to do it and don't go to prison. So I'm like, okay, well, if I study and get scholarships. And so that's, and even now, like with my work and over the last, 30 years of my life, 20 years of my life, all of my travel and everything has been paid for because of work or school or whatever. So it's like people see, oh, she's on vacation again. It's like, no, I'm working a 28-hour day and then I have to sleep for 2 hours and then go back and do it again, but I love doing what I do. So
Well, lucky for you, you're in some pretty decent locations for all these little.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't mind going to Normandy. I mean, I would have on D-Day, but I'll tell the story about D-Day because then I'm like fascinated and I'm like crying my eyes out. But like to stand there and to like just like look at these places and to know, like, because I'm a huge history person. So like when I'm like at Anne Frank's house in Amsterdam or, you know, at Normandy, and I'm looking out and I'm just like I just start getting, I cry like a little girl, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like look at this stuff happen, because I couldn't imagine like D-Day when I'm on the shores of you know, like Omaha Beach. I'm like looking around, going, are you kidding me? Like I would never be able to face this. So just to sit there and think, you know, like what really happened. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. Just point right where I'm standing. This happened, and it's like, it's just something more that you can grasp, you know what I mean? And so it's like, that's what it's all about, because like, I love that. So if I'm going to go, I want to go and I want to be there. I want to go to the places that normal people can't see. I want to talk to the people normal people can't talk to. So I'm in journalism.
Normal people. Yeah.
Yes.
So look, I'm the same way. I'm a history guy, and I'm so afraid that with each generation, history is just being eroded away. And so when I go to places, you know, when I go to places, I want to see historically significant, you know, events. I want to see where those happen. Now, growing up, you know, my kids growing up, we'd go somewhere they didn't care. They could have cared less about being there.
Yeah.
They could have cared less that if this battle that happened in a certain place would not have happened when it did, we'd all be speaking, you know, we'd speak under British rule. So.
But they're also changing things just a little bit. I'm noticing, like, for example, I'm a huge World War II buff. Like I've been, you know, to a lot of concentration camps. I've been to Auschwitz and Birkenau and Bergen-Belsen and all the big famous ones, right? So when you go to the like museums in the United States, because I've been to the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles, they have the Holocaust Museum in New York. I mean, I've been Washington, D.C., like all of it, right? Here, when they're talking about Auschwitz and stuff, then they start playing like the American music, which is great. Trust me, I'm crying my eyes out because I'm feeling proud to be an American. But they're telling you that Americans liberated Auschwitz. And I'm like, that's not true. The Soviets did, you know, like, so, but nobody knows the difference. So they think America just came in and just solved it all. And I'm like, they did after, but like, you can't, you know, because people go to those places expecting to like get a for dummies version of history, which is great, but you got to tell the real story. And that's where I get a little mad, because I'm like, no, I've been to Auschwitz. I've been in Birkenau. I've been to the places they actually, like, you know, burn the bodies, and America wasn't a part of it. They came later, you know, and it's like, don't change history, but nobody knows it. So,
well, I wouldn't blame the media, since you're on with me today.
I would.
The media's got a lot to do with that. They're helping rewrite history every day. So,
it's true.
All right. So you came back from overseas. We might as well go ahead and tell everybody where you studied while you were overseas.
Oxford. I love Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford.
My alma mater.
That's not, a lot of normal folks don't go to Oxford, just pointing that out. So,
normal people can, you know, and it's
so
like,
you were extraordinary very early in life is the problem. So you were dealing with extraordinary. All right. So you got back, and then you started your journey to be the new, who was your idol? Like, who was your journalism or broadcasting idol growing up?
I always, in my yearbook, it says that I wanted to go to my college that I went to, become the next Joan London, and retire in Monaco. That's what it said.
I would not have picked Joan London, but I mean, that's a really good one, though.
I mean, she was like the big shot back in the 90s, you know, and I graduated in 2001. So that was, you know, who I know and who I looked up to. So Joan London was my.
It's got to be hard to be 30 years old and graduate high school in 2001.
30. I'm going to be 41 this year.
Oh, I thought you were going to hold on to 30. So
no, but it's funny because I have been noticing, like, I'm like, oh, they're around our age. Well, because I'm 40 now, our age is too old. No, I'm in my 30s. People are so offended. And I'm like, whoa, bitch, you're going to be there soon. All right, I'll give you another 3 years. But
I finally got lucky. My oldest child just had a child, made me a grandfather. So now I look that old forever. Now I actually have a reason to look this old. So
no, you look great. And that's awesome. Because you want to be in your grandson's life. I mean, that's amazing.
I'm so excited to be that crusty old guy now. I'm just fired up about it. So all right.
Do it.
Focus, Stacey. Focus. Quit pulling me off point here. All right. So now that we've kind of covered what you were going to do, it didn't play out that way at all. It never does. You are not the next Joan London.
No.
Now you are very heavily involved in production and stuff like that associated with, television, but it didn't play out anywhere close to what the dream was.
No, and it's funny because that's what life's all about, and I realize that. That's why people ask me what's next, and I'm like, I don't know, because even with news, I wanted to go and be on TV, and I thought, oh, this was great. And I did my internship, and then I worked in news, but where I really got my kicks is, behind the scenes, like directing live newscasts. So I loved that and the adrenaline rush. I mean, the pay was terrible. It always is, no matter where you go around the world. But it was like, I was just in a position where I needed to get myself back. Because like you said, my husband died. I was 28. My husband was 28. He was in the Navy. It was, just things happen. And he had a heart issue. And at that point, my kids were 6 and 4. Now they're 19 and 17. And, and it's just like, you got to take life as it comes. But I just refused to just quit and like go work at McDonald's because I needed a 9 to 5. I'm like, I know I can do this, and that'll be my backup plan because I have no problem. I don't care. I went to Oxford, I went to Harvard, but you know what? At the end of the day, if my kids need food, I'm working at McDonald's and I don't care. Like it is what it is. I don't know if you
noticed that or not, but she casually slipped in. She went to Harvard too, kind of real low key, like y'all weren't listening.
Exactly.
But 1917. Well, the way you stay on the road, I'm assuming you just turned the house over to the two boys.
No, but it's fun. It's one of those double-edged swords because you want to do really good for yourself, but then I realized, like, holy crap, I set the bar really high. You know what I mean? And like, then what do you do for your kids? Because you want them to do well, but not. I never wanted them to compete with me. So my oldest son, he just got in the Honor Society. He just was picked as the Distinguished Student of the Year out of 500 kids. I'm like, he's doing things I never did. So I'm like, yes, like this is great. Now my youngest son, he's a junior in high school, and we don't know what he's going to end up doing. It's like, night and day. So I mean, He's a great kid. He's never been in trouble. Thank God, knock on wood. None of them have. But it's just the point. It's like, I'm excited to see like what's next. You know what I mean? Like I'm not worrying about it.
Well, is the oldest one following in your footsteps
He is. And it's funny because I knew he was going to, and I kept telling him, and like, I was like, Gavin, like, why don't you go to the school I went to at Elizabethtown College? Because that's where I started. And every year we would go there, for homecoming. I was always very active in my college. I still am. Mm-hmm. So, and then he's like, you're forcing me to go and move 2.5 hours away. And it's funny because like I was thinking in that moment, finally I understand like what God's whole plan is, because I'm like, I know this is good for him and he just needs to go. And I was like, oh boy, that perspective where like he knows better. So now my son's like, Mom, thank you for making me go here. I've met the best people. This is the best place for me. He's having a field day. And I'm like, I told you because I live there. So I knew that this would be good for you. And plus I'm like, if you're sad, there's memories of your dad and me everywhere because I brought you there every year for homecoming and everything else. So it's like, even when you're sad, just look around because there's memories everywhere from all of these years.
That's right. There's Stacey Toy all over that campus.
That's right. That's right. And I don't need to be there, but I think that that's important, So it's like I said, like, I don't want to like say I'm God or any of that stuff, but it's just like a perspective that I'd never seen before. But then once you understand it, you're like, oh, well, then I give the reins to you, Lord. Take it. Now I get it. Take the wheel. You know what I mean? You do know what's better than me, what's best for me. So,
all right. So, I'm trying to think of an easy way to kind of segue from where we left off almost 3 years ago to what you got going on now. And then you admitted you're 40 years old now.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm owning it. And all my gray hair.
That's what I'm saying. The gray hair, the blindness. I wasn't wearing glasses. I wouldn't be able to see you right now if it wasn't for these glasses. So
I got
all
LASIK.
that happens, after you turn 40 years old, you just start falling apart. Or I did. I don't know about you.
No, I do.
I think you're holding on. I think you're holding on pretty good. So
I have a chiropractor appointment tomorrow. I sneezed last week and I knocked my back out.
Now, to be fair, you probably have a chiropractor appointment because you stay on a plane so much.
It's true. That's true too. But I literally sneezed though. I sneezed last week and I knocked my left hip out of and I couldn't even wipe my butt. Like it was so bad. So 40 is terrible. I own it because I'm limping.
Okay. So I don't know if the brain fog has kicked in yet. So here's what I thought about doing. Let's just, from the last time you were on the show, to right now. Let's just run through a laundry list of just things that you've notches in the belt. Let's say like a gunfighter. You gotta get how many notches. So you've done a million things since then, but let's just hit some highlights. For example, current project you got going on right now. It's pretty impressive. Checked it out online. I tell you what, it's got Stacey Toy all over it. So
what's that? Which one?
The project that you're working alongside Mr. Entertainer, aka
Mr. the Entertainer. Yes,
I guess you refer to him as. I would refer to him as Mr. Entertainer. You refer to him as Sid. I guess your first name, you're Sid with him. So
I call him. I'm like Mr. the Entertainer, and he just would laugh and laugh and laugh. He's like, "Well, you just call me Cedric, damn it!" And I'm like, "You're the boss." He's like, "We're partners. I'm not the boss." You know.
So you two. I
actually got told that.
Okay,
he's not
you two are producers on this project, right? Y'all producers on this project. So kind of give a snapshot of what this project is.
So Fan Room Live, I love it. One of the owners, his name is Jeff Krause. He's a very good friend of mine. And we actually got together through LinkedIn. It's funny because Jeff is like one of my best friends, and we've only actually seen each other in person like once. But we've been best friends for years now, and we help each other out. He works with a lot of celebrities in New York City. He does a lot of the booking for Saturday Night Live events and things like that. So he's a big deal. And they were going through a transition with Cedric's show, Fan Room, during COVID. And Jeff's like, you know what? Stacey was on the show and she did so great. Like, everybody loved it. I was like, what? Like me? They're like, yeah. I was like, I was just having fun. They're like, well, that's what we want. We just want you to have fun. Like, it's not a scripted show. And the whole point is like Fan Room is to bring the fans into the same room, kind of like how you and I are talking.
Right.
And then they can actually like talk to the celebrity and ask them questions, and you get your one-on-one time. So especially during COVID and things like that, it was great. We were just in Forbes magazine. Jeff Krause was talking about Fan Room in January. So last month we were just in Forbes magazine for it. But yeah, it's Cedric the Entertainer, Jeff Krause, Mitch Faulkner, myself, and Jay Benjamin. And Cedric. And I mean, we've been going strong now for about 3.5 years, almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
And we made Forbes.
virtual meet and greet. Oh, I'm telling you, you're everywhere. Everywhere I look on social media, you're there. How let me ask you a question. I know I don't want to use the term luck because I don't believe in luck. I believe in good fortune. I believe people have good fortune. How in the world have you been able to attach yourself to so many? Because when COVID was going on, you and I were talking pretty slow times for a lot of people. It was the only thing that was really going during COVID was podcasts. A lot of them.
But that's how we all met.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, just curiosity. In like 20, I don't remember if it was the late 2020 or early 2021. I talked to you. How many podcast appearances you think you had in a year's time?
I already know. I had 253 podcasts in a 6-month period.
How in the world do you know that?
Because my former publicist, who we all met through him.
Oh my gosh! I thought we're not bringing that up now.
No. I'm just saying my former. But I'm just saying.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
I had a list. I was doing like 3 to 4 a day. But that's what you do. Like COVID happened. Everyone's like, "Oh, my work is gone," and I'm like, "Mine is too." So let's figure it out. You know what I mean? So. But that's all about networking. You need to like find a niche or find like the whole world stopped, but not in podcasting. That's how we met, right? And here we are 3 years later. And it doesn't take a lot. Just don't be an asshole. It seems like it's simple, but like.
And you and I are virtual best friends now.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
We might not ever see each other in person, but we've known each other for 3 years now.
I know.
I will say this, and in that gentleman's defense. When I was first getting started, he really helped me a lot. I got a lot of opportunities to talk to a lot of people like you that I've never would a million years. We wouldn't have randomly. First of all, you were, what is it, Pennsylvania, but I don't even remember where you were based out of then. Were you in New York at that time?
I was in New York. I still have a place in Los Angeles, and London is where I have a place.
See, I'm just no country boy from Mississippi. I wouldn't have run into you in any of those 3 places. Matter of fact, the idea of going to London, it sounds really intriguing. My dad, before he passed, he was in the military. He spent 16 weeks over there as part of a training. And I'm telling you, he told me he's glad he was saved because that was the closest thing to hell he'd ever experienced. He said
That's
the weather.
amazing.
He said the weather was miserable. He said he said it rained every day. He said it literally for 16 weeks rained every day. So, so that's a place I don't feel like I want to go to. And then Los Angeles.
I love rain. I really do. Like, it makes me happy for some reason. But it's funny because I just got stuck in the UK for about 2.5 weeks last month. Well, my boyfriend, he's never been there before. So I was like, well, we're here. Do you want to go stay at my cousin's house? So I'm like, all right, let's rent a car. And we drove like from coast to coast and up and down because my cousins are everywhere still over there.
Right.
So I'm like, come on. So we spent 2.5 weeks, and I got to, it's funny because he's like the first person I was able to show stuff to because I always am the one going over there to see our family. But my parents are older now. They're in their 70s. They can't travel like that. And plus, over in Europe, if you've ever been there, you got to walk everywhere. Right. So there's no like wheelchair access stuff, while that's very, it sucks. I also look at it and I'm just like, you know what? Do it because you know what? Even if you come back here, you might not be able to walk again, or you might not be, and you'll never experience it unless you go and do it. So we go and do it. Bam.
Still trying to wrap my mind around. You did over 250 podcast appearances in 6 months.
Oh God, yeah. And
you had to have been doing 4 and 5 a day.
I was. That's why I don't have a voice in a lot of them. About 3 months in, I lost my voice. I did. So, you could see it though, and that's the worst part because, like, I know I was still doing stuff with like the Cedric shows. And I actually saw on a Delta flight because our shows are in 138 countries, but they're also on other things like Delta flights and stuff. And I'm looking over like in front of me, like 2 seats up, and they're watching my show, and it's me. And I'm like, come on, Stace, like, don't look like you're so tired. Like, come on, like, so now I really understand because I can see you're on those podcasts and it's just like, oh, yeah, that's good. But then you don't realize, like, when you see it and somebody else is watching it, you're like, come on, you're better than that. You're better than that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. This is a question that I probably should have asked at least 100 or so guests, but I haven't. How weird is it to see yourself on a production like that?
Honestly, it's very strange. I actually just got noticed last week, it's almost a week ago, in the Dollar Tree down in Florida. I've only been noticed in Florida twice. Once at a Dillard's and once last week. And they were on a show before. And it's very strange because then especially at a dollar store, because everybody then is like, oh, she's pregnant. And nobody has any idea who I am at all. And I'm like, oh, that's great, but then everyone's just like, oh, and then all of a sudden it's like Winn-Dixie was next door. And then I walked out to my car and everybody's taking pictures. And I'm like, dude, like, there's no TMZ story here. Like, and even if you told them, they're not going to care. I know them and I tell them things all the time. And I'm like, you're not famous enough. So I like it that way,
you're not famous enough.
No, I'm not. And I like it that way because you get, clients and things, and sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's fine. But the entertainment industry is full of actors and a lot of entertainment, if you will. So people are very vocal with things that are bad. Come on, like the Me Too movement happened, and everybody knows who Harvey Weinstein is. You know what I mean? It's just like nobody knows who I am, and that's okay.
I didn't see your name listed and all that. I checked. That's one of the few things on social media you weren't involved in the last 3 years.
No, and I also, I was actually working with Prince Andrew over in England before his Epstein stuff came out. And I'm a little pissed off about it because we had a film that was coming out, a documentary that was going to actually go back into the Queen's charity for money and things like that. And then that came out, and I'm
they squashed that, yeah.
And it's like,
interesting.
You can't keep your dick in your pants. Like, really? Like, come on. Like, this is my livelihood now. So, like, I'm getting mad because I, lost a lot of money because of stupid. And it's like, you're royalty. You're always going to have money. Act like a decent human being for the people who don't, So there's a lot of times I lost money.
Exactly. So. All right. So let's test the brain fog level. Let's see where you're at. Can you remember after COVID kind of, I don't want to say ended because it kind of faded out, political reasons. It faded out and then it came back. So anyway, that's a different story, different conversation. Can you remember the first like major project or semi-major project that you worked on right after they kind of lifted the veil?
Well, I did do a marketing campaign for a CBD company. And that was like it was a nice little like kick to get back into stuff because I brought it to my other partner, Marky Denenbaum at 25/8 Studios, who I love, and I'm the COO of his company. But it was nice to get back, with my partner doing something that made a little bit of money. It didn't make a lot, but it was just a point. Like, I don't care. We don't care about the money. I mean, money obviously needs to happen to keep your places and to pay the bills. I understand that. But for people who are in this industry, and especially for my partner and I, like, we really love what we do. So, like, we do a lot of stuff for free for each other, and we'll be there and we'll do whatever we need. Like, if my partner needs me, I'm there. If I need him, he's there. No questions. And that's what you need. And I have a few partners like that. And I love that. I mean, you need that in order to succeed because you can't do it on your own. And even when you go through the bad times, there's a lot of people who have left me. They come back later because they always want money, but I don't forget, like, if I needed help,
Right.
and they just excuse themselves from a text or whatever, that's okay. But don't come back to me because I remember all of that. And I know you're going to need me because you already talked about wanting things that I'm already having in production, but I'm not working with you because I don't need to. Sorry, I'm not doing it anymore. And that's my biggest thing. Is like, turning 40 has been great because I don't give a crap about a lot of stuff. And I'm okay with it. I don't want the drama in my life anymore. I don't need it. There's enough. It's the entertainment industry. I mean, I make entertainment every day. So it's like, why do I need it in real life when I do this for fun? And get paid for it.
I know for a fact that you don't forget people. I mean, if they don't treat you poorly, you are very open because like I said, I reached out to you randomly. A year ago, and you were super busy, and I understood why you didn't reach back out. And when I reached out to you just a few weeks ago, you were super excited to come back on the show, and I'm like, I don't understand that, but I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to have her back on. So,
but see, you have to understand that, like, so last year, I know I was telling you this a little bit before the show, but for people listening, I had a really bad year last year. It was very depressing. I had a lot of anxiety attacks. And it seems to be the norm for a lot of people. I went over to Oxford last month, and the Baroness of Scotland was talking about how we need to share our failures and how everybody didn't do good last year. Everybody's hurting for money. We get it. You know what I mean? And, like, you need to start talking about things like that. You need to, like, because it's okay to fail. And that's the point. It's like Tesla and all, all Einstein and I mean, everybody, they've failed 9,999 times, but then that last time, and it's like, you just got to keep with it. But there's so many people that, local attitude is a big thing. People that are in small towns and have that local attitude, it's everywhere. Well, in the United States, I should say, because in Europe and in South America, everybody's open arms. I mean, if you see in the good places, of course, if they're open arms in the bad places, don't go into the open arms. But I'm just saying, like, it's just funny. And I'm just really grateful for everything that I've done, everything that's happened, because I turned 40 and I'm like, my kids are grown and I've traveled over to 50 countries. I told all these stories, working in news. Like, I directed the Sandy Hook shooting and I'm just like, remember just hitting the button going, please God, don't let a kid get shot live on the air. Please God, don't let, because it was ABC right on Good Morning America. I was the one directing that. So if you saw all that, that was me. So it's like, I mean, I've been in so many situations and things like that, most people, you don't understand it, but it's just the same as, like, the military. Like, you get PTSD. Like, and that's what last year, I think, basically was about. Now that my son's going to college and my other son's old enough to drive and going out and, like, working in news, I've seen everything go wrong at least once. And don't tell me it can't go wrong, because I was there when Sully landed on the Hudson. Okay. Like, birds brought a whole plane down. Okay. Like, I've seen it. I was there. So right now is kind of a difficult time for me. And, like, last year, that's what I was seeing a therapist and everything else. It happens, and especially with COVID. I mean, you get depressed. People, a lot of us thought our careers were over. So, that's the biggest thing, I think, is, like, people have to understand that you got to deal with life and do whatever you need to. Like I said, last year, I'm so sorry. I was focusing on me.
Listen,
but that's why we're here now, because I didn't kill myself. You know what I mean? And
listen, Stacey Toy, you don't have to apologize to me.
I do though, because
Trust
I
me,
feel bad.
I know why. I told you, I follow you on social media. I know why you couldn't. You probably didn't have the joke was, and I don't know if you even remember reading this text I sent you when you said you were going to come back on the show. I want to say the text read something like, "Get your PA to check your
Yes,
calendar."
you said that.
And you laughed, and it's like, PA, what are you talking?
Yeah, I don't have a
I just
production
assumed,
assistant.
famous
Yeah.
people, and I don't want to, you're not a normal person. I mean, and I mean that in the sweetest way I can say it. You're not normal.
Tell
You're
my boyfriend that.
you're next level. I mean, you're next level at this point. And maybe back when you were a little girl in Pennsylvania, maybe, but that's been a long time ago. Not that long ago. Not that long.
But I like that. I still have a place, on my family's property because they came over like 250 years ago. And so I still go there because I'm like, I need to ground myself. It doesn't matter how big you get. And great. If you do, good for you. But Madonna, Britney Spears, Cher, I mean, look at them all. They reach a point and then stuff happens. And like, so if you think you're going to get famous for all the good shit, that's great. But the bad stuff comes with the good stuff too.
Right,
so you got to like kind of, and we're experiencing that and it happens and it's terrible. But I'm also over 40 now, so I kind of don't care.
Yeah. Well, I will say this while we're recording, so this will be saved up for all of history. You are pretty inspirational because I did roughly the World of Wally show. I did the audio stuff. I did I think I went back and checked. I did almost 200 interviews. Wow. And of the 200 interviews, there's only about 5 folks that I actually talked to that actually impacted me. And you're in that top 5. You're actually in my top 3. Because I would have never continued to pursue this whole Wally Media Group.
Really?
If it wouldn't have been. When I had a conversation with you, I said, if she can do this at the level she's doing it, I'm old. I'm a lot older than you are, but I can't walk away from this opportunity.
Do you realize that in that same minute that you're saying that about me, I was saying that about you because I needed to do stuff because we were all like, everything left me and I had nothing. And I'm like, you know what? I need to just be. So you needed me and I needed you.
Every time I doubt myself, young lady, I think about what you told me about how ships rise with the tide.
That's right. They do. Everyone goes up and everyone goes down, but they go up.
That when I'm having a really bad day and the equipment's failing on me and folks are canceling and having to reschedule and I'm super frustrated, I always think, you know what? There's always tomorrow to do it. And if there's not, I won't worry about it anyway. It's
true though.
Make or break me. The beauty of it is to have the opportunity to have conversations with people like you, because the main reason I started back in 2020, which everybody says, it was the pandemic. That had nothing to do with it.
It was just a good push.
I had put off an opportunity to do what I wanted to do for a long time. That was just a perfect time to start it. Little did I know that I was going to stumble across so many interesting people in this world. So,
well, there you go. And that's the whole point. Like anybody who wants to get anywhere, it's all about networking. It's all about who you know. Because, like if I reached out to you or you reached out to me and asked me about this person, I'd connect you directly, instantly, if I had that access.
Well, I have a question there. Because
I know you have two favors. I know you mentioned. So
lay
it on me.
Let's see. We have 2. No, I'm not going to. That's not going to be shared. We're not recording the 2 favors.
Okay.
I do have a question though about we're talking about networking, and you are a network expert because you have already name dropped at least a dozen people in the last 33 minutes.
Sorry.
So, what I think is so amazing is how seamlessly you do it. Like the gentleman that you are part of the production company with, you seamlessly introduced him and his company and your position with them in a sentence as you were describing something totally different, which was amazing. And
I'm a cheerleader.
That's the kind of stuff that inspired me, because I'm like, did you see how seamlessly she did that?
Yeah. I mean, it's not about being jealous.
I mean, you did go to Oxford and learn how to be the next John London, although you didn't use it, but that's okay.
I know.
So 2 quick questions.
Yes.
What is over 50 countries you said you visited? Mm-hmm. What is what is the most interesting location you've ever visited?
Oh God. I mean, there's so many,
I'll
like
tell you
there's
what,
so
I'm
many
on
reasons.
top,
All right.
what are the top three? What are the top three most
Perfect.
interesting locations you've?
Perfect. Because I was thinking of three. Well, obviously England, because it's my homeland, and I'm a
Right.
lady over there. And like my grandmother was the Queen of England's second cousin. So I'm actually related to the royalty. That's why I'm a lady. I'm an actual lady. I'm never gonna become queen or anything. So don't think any of that. I'm a long time removed.
Look, there's 17 ways to be president if you just got to get in the right spot.
Oh God, Biden was from Scranton. Don't make me go there. And I was from Scranton. Don't make me. Right. So was the priest from The Exorcist and the Clintons. I mean, ironic. I don't know.
I don't know.
You do.
It's just
but so England is one.
Specifically, specifically where in England? Like if you had to just hang it up in
Cornwall, England. It's the southernmost point, and that's where my toys came from. They were tin miners, and tin miners were like the best miners in the world. So we went to Scranton for the coal mines, and a lot of my family went to Australia and Mexico for all the different mines. So that's how we ended up here. The other one that I really love is Haiti. I love Haiti so much. I helped build a school there, and they have a 14-acre guarded security, like for orphans and stuff. They're amazing. I just helped get one of the kids their visa for the United States, and they're actually in the States now going to college. I mean, like they have nothing, but they have everything, if that makes sense. So Haiti, and then plus their water is so buoyant because it's so salty that you kind of float on the top. It's really strange. Like you could go in the water and you're like, wow, I'm really high up here. So anyway, so I love Haiti, England, and then it's a tie between like I said, I'm a huge World War II fan. So Poland, seeing like Auschwitz, Birkenau, and then obviously Amsterdam with Anne Frank's house, because that Anne Frank's house actually is why I got sober in October of 2003. So it's been over 20 years because of Anne Frank's house. So
congratulations on sobriety. So you couldn't even follow the rules. I gave you 3. You had to come in with 4. Honorable mention. You had
3.5. 3.5.
And then inside story here, you like Poland because of the salt mines.
I did. I love the salt mines in Poland. Like they have little dwarves and a whole church and everything.
Right.
It's like
for our listeners that have no idea what I'm talking about, we actually were trying to get this thing scheduled. We had to change the date a couple of times, and I made a statement that I had to go because I was headed back to the salt mines to go to work, which is a joke here, and especially in the deep South about how hard you have to work to try to make $1 around here. So there's only I thought it'd be the worst place in the world to work, be a salt mine, but she says they're pretty amazing. So
they are. If you make nice, I mean, those people were also stuck down there for a very long time. So like there was really, I mean, I would have built a church too, wouldn't you? Like carved it out. If I was like, hey, I'm down here for 152 days, like why not?
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
Cornwall, England, because that's your heritage. That's where you're from.
Yeah, so Cornwall, England.
And then Poland, because they have amazing salt mines. And then Haiti. And you and Tim Tebow building schools and churches for folks. I tell you, I don't know what to think. And then of course, I didn't know this. Interesting fun fact: the buoyancy of the salt level in the water.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But the things you can learn on this show.
It's true. My husband that had passed, he actually took me on my first cruise where he proposed to me, and he proposed to me in Haiti at their special part. And I just loved it. So on our honeymoon, we went back, and I remember him and I were talking, and him and I are Christians. And so him and I were like, we should come back and help kids and do something like with the Christian thing. And I remember that day so well, because then I remember being back in Haiti, doing the documentary and building the school. My husband had passed away at that point, but I remember just like all of a sudden, like the sky opened up and the sun was there. And it was like, I just felt like he was there. And it was like one of those moments. And so when I left, and when I left there, I just like all of my depression and stuff that I had leading up to that point, because he had died. He died 11/11/11. We got married on 7/7/7. So on 12/12/12, I stayed home. But it's like, it was 2016 that I went to Haiti and did all that stuff, and he died in 2011. So it had been about 5 years. But it wasn't until I went back there and actually did what the one thing that my husband and I wanted to do while he was still alive, but I felt like he was there doing it, you know? And
Right.
it's like, it's just one of those, like, life is going to take you in a lot of places. And I know my church, like, really prayed over me because they're like, that's the land of voodoo. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
know, but I gotta
Say,
go.
Haiti's pretty rough place.
Oh, it's not, yeah, for the faint of heart. Trust me.
Haiti's the kind of place, Haiti, because Haiti's a big cruise location.
Yeah.
Haiti would probably be the poster child for not wandering away from the resort.
Oh God, of course. Well, I mean, the Dominican Republic is the same island, and it's like if the Dominican Republic comes over, it's okay, but the Haitians can't go over to the Dominican Republic or else they get killed.
Right.
But I mean, like a lot of them, you know, a lot of their parents. I was at the cemeteries and stuff from the earthquake, and those kids are just so amazing. Like they're all like, you know, they'll tell me about their parents, and they're just like, you know, but they're with God, and like, you know, God gave me the faith and the strength. And I'm there learning how to have faith and strength and stuff from a 7-year-old kid who has nothing.
Look,
but they have everything.
Kids from other countries that don't have everything handed to them like they do here in the U.S., they have resilience. They have levels of resilience that the American kids will never know.
I know, and I want to bring my boys. I want to bring my boys back down there, but I also have to be really safe because I want them to learn a lesson, but I don't want to have to learn the lesson of burying my kids too, you know, because I know even the airport, like you have to pay people just to like get through and to get your bags and not die. Like it is very, very sketchy. Trust me, very sketchy.
Before we let you get out of here, I'm going to give you in a moment. I'm going to give you an opportunity to pitch any of your most current projects you got going on, links, and all that kind of stuff. But I do have one more curiosity question.
Yes.
If I was to pick up you and I were in the same room and you sat your phone down and I picked your phone up, give me 3 names that I absolutely would not believe are in your phone.
Okay. Well, my favorites, Ernie O'Donnell and Kevin Smith are my favorites.
Okay.
Cedric the Entertainer. You know, I mean, he's my partner.
Well, now technically, I would, if I follow you at all, I would know Ced would probably be in there. I'm sorry, Mr. Entertainer.
Mr. the Entertainer.
I'm not on the first name basis with him, so I'm Mr. the Entertainer. So
Mr. the Entertainer,
and can't use him. I would expect that to be there.
But in my favorites too, one of my business partners is actually royalty in a different country over in Europe. So I have royalty.
Yeah, that's what it would not shock me. I don't know if it shocked me if I saw, like, I don't know. I think say Prince Charles, but he's actually King Charles now. So
I know, but he's going to be stepping down. So newsflash, everybody, because I'm actually very good friends with the pastor that they talk to, and he's going to be stepping down. And William and Kate are going to be in there sooner than you think.
Here we go.
You heard it here first.
Here we go. All right, breaking news.
If it happens, you're going to be so thrilled because you can hashtag that.
First of all, I don't know how to say this. I really have a very limited interest in what goes on in England. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I understand what the purpose of the whole hierarchy is, but
I don't. I still don't, and I'm related to them.
I just don't understand it. I remember being a kid. I had to probably been in high school when this happened, when Prince Charles married Diana.
Yes. And I remember seeing her funeral too.
The entire world shut down. Like we quit doing schoolwork in America to watch the wedding of 2 royals that 106% of us were never going to meet. You like,
that's true.
That good math, 106% of us. I will never in my lifetime meet King Charles. You know,
it's okay. It's not a big deal. Trust me. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but the Queen Elizabeth was amazing. Yeah. And just for people who don't know, Big Ben in Parliament, you know, the bell, they renamed it the Elizabeth Tower. It's no longer Big Ben. It's the Elizabeth Tower.
I did see that on Twitter or some other social media platform.
Yes. But I mean, she was so amazing. I've met her a few times. I worked her Jubilee. I worked the London 2012 Olympics. Like I was very involved with a lot of stuff. Right. And obviously their family.
Here we go. Obviously, they're family.
They're
You're
family.
so subtle. You are the best low key name dropper I've ever seen.
Well, it's funny. It's like I say that, but then remember the part of I grew up poor, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like, hey,
I
we're
see all these
royalty.
other people like royalty, and I'm like, what? Is this a test?
Did your parents have to remind you were royalty every time you complained about not having?
No. If anything, like they were just like, you're from Pennsylvania and you got to work hard. And
yeah,
I love my parents to death. I really do. But like they're the product of small town, So when I was 30 years old and I quit my full-time job, broadcasting, and I decided to be an entrepreneur as a single mom of two, their butts puckered. You can bet your heart they like. Ooh, what are we gonna do? Like, so they're funny now because now they're just like, you know what? Whatever you want to do, you always land on your feet. You're like a cat, So it is what it is. But I love that, I'm very close with my parents still. My kids are. They help them out. We live next door to them, and so
All right. So you, ma'am, have You got the last couple of minutes of the show to kind of tell us. I know fan room, but I mean you got some other stuff going on. I know. So
yes, I do. We're gonna be filming with Scotty Schwartz. He's the guy who got his tongue stuck to the pole in the Christmas Story.
I've had Scott on the previous project of mine,
and the toy is working with the toy.
My God!
I know. Boom, boom. That joke.
If you could get Stead to fill in for Richard Pryor, that'd be really awesome.
I wish Richard Pryor was still alive. No, so we're doing a TV show. We're filming actually in Scranton this year.
Okay.
So it's a 10 episode TV series that's going to be out, and it also stars Todd Bridges from Different Strokes. Okay. And a lot of other big people. Like they're opening up their Rolodex like for this because they think this is their last big hurrah. So like I'm talking everybody from Bill. You know who Bill is? William Shatner. That's Bill. Bill. Oh, just Bill. And I'm like, what the? Are you a Tribble? No, like Bill. Oh, Bill's calling. That's William Shatner.
That's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
I know. He asked me the one time when I talked to him, he's like, so what's my favorite thing you've done? And I was like, Priceline Negotiator. He's like, I never watched Star Trek or anything. And he's like, I love you. He's like, I love you. Because I was like the only person who didn't say Star Trek.
Well, the crazy thing is Priceline introduced him to a lot of folks that had no idea that he was ever in Star Trek.
And I knew he was in Star Trek, but that's what I knew him from. And like, you can tell when I'm lying because I can't lie. Like I can't, I just can't. And it's like, even in the middle of it, I'll be like, no, I'm lying. I'm telling you. And then I'll tell you the truth because I just can't do it, but with him. So I was like, he asked me the question. I was like, Priceline Negotiator, he's like, I love you. And he gave me a tribble. And I was like, I don't know what this is. He's like, give it to your partner. He will. So I gave it to my partner, Marky Tenenbaum, at 258 Studios. He's like, oh, there's a trouble. Oh my God. And I was like, I thought it was a dead cat in a bag, so you never know. But the thing is you just have to be nice to everybody. Networking is the most important thing. And people are like, I tell people that, and then they go, oh, I'm here. So how do we network? It's like, dude, like you just become like friends with people. Like you say Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday. Like it's not that difficult. You know what I mean?
You stalk them on social media like I do.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Living vicariously through Stacey Toy's travels. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
It's got to be exhausting. I don't know. You live with jet lag. You must.
Oh God. I can't sleep at night. I know this weekend, like there's a special full moon or something. So they were saying that people aren't going to be able to sleep. I don't sleep a lot. Like I'm up a lot. So that's why I said like last year was really, really hard for me because of my depression and my anxiety. My thyroid's been acting up. So like that adds to everything. But we're getting it all under control, which is good. But it's just like, you go through a year's worth of all these people thinking that you're awesome and amazing and doing all this great stuff. But all you're doing is really just letting people down and yourself down and making no money, and that happens. And people, I think, need to talk about that because that happens way more often than anybody succeeding. You can still succeed. I mean, look at 50 Cent and stuff, vitamin water and all that other stuff. And like everything just, comes out from underneath you. So it's like, it is what it is. But yeah, so There's a lot of stuff, but
I'll tell
what's
you
gonna
what.
stick? I don't know.
If you're as tired as I am from this conversation we just had, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted just watching you go at it. You're on fire all the time. Like
I am. I
I
am.
know.
And it's like I have to go for an ADHD test again. And I'm like, really? Are you serious? Like, watch anything. I'm like, come on. Woo,
I'm
I
gonna have to
have
put
it.
I'm gonna put a disclaimer at the bottom of this episode. She did not drink 6 gallons of coffee before this.
No, I was drinking almond milk, everybody.
Almond
See?
milk.
Almond
Yeah.
milk. That's it.
Yeah, almond milk. That sounds
I love my
absolutely
almond milk. I
disgusting.
love my vanilla almond
You
milk.
need to
That's
come
about it.
south. You need to come deep south and
Yes.
find me, and I can show you what real food and
Like brisket and all that good stuff.
brisket.
Oh,
Yeah, good stuff. Barbecue. Oh yeah, we got good barbecue down here.
yeah,
You can
that's
find
what I
good
love.
barbecue. You can find good barbecue in Mississippi in a gas station.
Oh, MISSISSIPPI. Let's do it.
All right, so y'all heard it, folks. She can't get out of it. She comes anywhere south of the Mason-Dixon line, which she's a history guy. She'll know who that is.
Yes.
If she goes south of the Mason-Dixon line, she's obligated to find me when she gets down here. So
Correct. I am,
Right.
and it's on TV now, so y'all
right,
have to hold me to it.
what else we got, Stacey? We good? We
We're
good?
good.
We've
We're
covered
good.
quite a bit of stuff. I tell
Yes.
you, I'm
Well, follow me on Instagram at Stacey Toy, which is STACEYTOY. Don't forget the
Please,
E, because I have cousins and they're wonderful, but they don't have an E, and they get it, and I don't get it for another 6 months. So please do
Okay.
Stacey Toy. I'm on
And you're on-
Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. All at Stacey Toy. STACEYTOY.
You're on
And yes.
X. You're on Threads. You're on.
I'm on
You're on
everything. I'm
She's
on
everything.
everything.
She's even on TikTok. So
I know it's weird. Like I really only do that because like I check up on my sons and I'm like,
Yeah,
what
I
are
don't-
they doing? And
I
why is this
I
here?
recently joined TikTok, and I'm not. I don't.
Bring back MySpace. I want my top.
No,
eight,
I'm
you
not
know?
going. Listen, we're not going back to the Flintstone days. I'm okay with the Jetsons, but
That's so funny.
All right.
But I love it too.
well, Stacey, I can't thank you enough. I can't believe a big timer, an A-lister like you decided to come
Oh
back
my
on.
God.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm a Z-lister and you're the A-lister
A
because you're the one with the
Z-lister.
show.
Whatever
You're
you
the one
say.
with the show.
Whatever you say, young lady, it would be very, very easy for you to throw a project out like this. It would be. I mean, you're Oxford educated. I mean, let's just and Harvard. Forgot about that. All right. Well, guys, can't thank my guests enough, Stacey, for being on today. As soon as she comes south, I'll go live and let you guys know that she's here. We'll tour around the state of Mississippi. She'll think she's gone to another country. She can add that to her country list. So
Mississippi, I feel like you need a passport to go to Mississippi anyway.
Wow.
So.
Wow. I do have a passport, but I needed that to get out of the country. That was pretty insensitive, that statement you just made. But I'm gonna let it slide though.
I love you.
All right. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week with another episode. And thank you again, Stacey. Talk to you later, guys.